The Airports Company of South Africa says it has managed to resolve the issue of aircraft refueling. Earlier, ACSA released a statement stating that airlines at the O.R Tambo International Airport in Gauteng were unable to refuel aircraft yesterday, resulting in many flight delays. Now, this after just 2 days after the pilots from state-owned carrier SAA ended a 3-day wage strike. We speak now to ACSA Regional Manager Jabu Khambule just to get the latest on this situation. Mr. Khambule, thanks for your time. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning and good morning to your listeners. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Mr. Khambule, first off, can you just explain to us what exactly happened? You know, your statement said that the refueling crisis had been resolved, but what exactly caused the problem yesterday?
Okay, so what caused the problem yesterday is a broken shaft. It's a shaft that failed. So a fueling valve has 3 components in it. It's got a gearbox, then there's a shaft in the middle, and this shaft connects to the valve, which controls the actuator movement for it to open and close. So what happened is that this shaft actually failed, and when it failed, the valve actuator was in closed position, which resulted in us and the engineers now having to disassemble the entire valve and replace the failed shaft. So just also a little bit of context is that this valve stands between the aprons and the fuel farm. So fuel that was coming from the feeder line, from the fuel farm into the aprons to refuel the aircraft is actually the valve that had a problem with a broken shaft, and that took us about 3 hours to fix due to the complex procedures that needs to be followed in replacing a failed component like that.
And Mr. Khambule, I'm sure you've heard this all of yesterday going into today. People were talking about the reputational damage that this does for South Africa, given that O.R Tambo is, of course, one of the major airports in the country, but also on the continent, and all the delays that resulted from that. How do you respond to that, where people say that this shouldn't have happened and, you know, it causes major reputational damage for South Africa as a premier tourist destination?
I do understand and profusely on behalf of Airports Company South Africa apologize for the inconvenience that this incident has caused. However, Cassandra, I have to say that things do break. We are dealing with mechanical equipment here. In terms of maintenance, preventative maintenance, that has been happening throughout. Tests and checks before operations every day, they do happen to make sure that we prevent such incidents from happening. However, unfortunately, when a mechanical equipment or mechanical component breaks, it's one of those things that happen, and we do understand the reputational damage that this might have on our operations. But I can assure you that these kinds of breakdowns are not unique to O.R Tambo International Airport. These things happen internationally at any airport. However, what I'm happy with is that it was a very swift response to repair the particular valve that caused this problem for us. I would very feel bad if we didn't even have spares in place to repair and make sure that we are back in operations. But to show that we were prepared and we knew that things like this do happen, we did have spares and we attended to the issue, and now we are back in operations.
And back in operation, has the backlog been cleared in its entirety? Where do we stand right now, Mr. Khambule?
Yes, the backlog was cleared in its entirety last night around 8:30 p.m. So this morning, operations and all scheduled flights all departed on time, and we are back in normal operations. Yes.
Well, thanks so much for your time. ACSA Regional Manager, Mr. Jabu Khambule there, just explaining to us exactly what happened yesterday and that caused the refueling situation and also the backlogs, but telling us that it is completely cleared right now.